it's from MA55 Aronson. Man, I can't pronounce that. I'm seriously considering buying an all-in-one computer. What features should I seek and before dwelling into such a deal? So I'm going to assume they're telling you the fact of input output and stuff like that.
No, it is a good question. I am a fan of all-in-one computers. The thing you got to keep in mind is that the monitor goes out, your computer's out, or if one port goes out, it may be very difficult to replace it, as opposed to, say, a desktop computer. And in many cases, and in many ways, a laptop or a traditional notebook computer is, by definition, an all-in-one. You've got your input, you've got your output. It's all-in-one. You don't really need to attach anything to it. So I think we've been using all-in-one PCs for quite a while. Bringing them to the desktop, certainly has benefits in the sense that you don't have a lot of, extra space being taken up by the computer, and you could potentially get a bigger screen for it as well to accommodate all the various components. In terms of input-output options, it depends on what you plan on plugging in at any point in the future. I would, more than anything, look to make sure that your USB ports are fully powered, so that you can connect a hub to it and not really worry about having that hub and its components that are connected being underpowered. Does anybody else have any discussion points around the all-in-one desktop computers?
Yeah, I would say always plan for the future. Even if, let's say, you have a 19-inch monitor as primary right now, you might want to expand that later. And as Chris just pointed out, an all-in-one, you're pretty much stacked. So, consider getting a slightly bigger screen if you can. And most things like the HP all-in-ones are bigger monitors just for that reason. And two, always read up on the warranty, because a lot of times some components may or may not be covered by that, and with an all-in-one, you are stuck with what you got. So if it's HP, look up, see if anyone's had problems with the warranty of certain parts not being covered, because in the long run, you might run into that issue, especially with graphics.
Well, I know the iMac has been a great all-in-one PC for people as well.
One thing about the iMac, I've seen a lot of people use them as replacements for Mac Pro. It does enough for most video editing. They're really powerful. So it's gotten to the point to where, at least for most people, you can get an all-in-one and have plenty of power. So I don't think that is much of a concern. The heating issues seem to be getting a little bit better. I've heard some people have trouble with the HP TouchSmart, I think they're called, their all-in-one versions. And there's been some heating issue problems with them. So you definitely want to look at the reviews before you go into one, because if something overheats and something gets destroyed, like we mentioned earlier, the whole computer could be trashed.
Yeah, and going to that point, like for the iMac, for instance, has the ability for the user to upgrade the RAM without voiding the warranty. So, especially for a PC, make sure you know what you're buying into, because you might be able to upgrade the RAM on certain machines or other users can't. So if you know you're going to be stacked, make sure you are happy with the specs that you're getting at the time.
Or be able to upgrade the hard drive, too, without voiding the warranty.
So certainly, components are upgradable. The ease of upgrading is a different question altogether. I think it boils down to just a matter of convenience. If I needed to get a desktop type of computer that wasn't a notebook computer, because the notebook's got the keyboard built in. Of course, now you also have tablets, which are also kind of all-in-ones. Not in the traditional all-in-one desktop sense. I would probably go with an all-in-one model, if only because the footprint is just so incredibly small. It's non-existent. It's basically taking up as much space as a traditional monitor, but instead of just being the monitor, you've got a full-on system baked inside. I think it's great.
Yeah, my next desktop would definitely be an iMac, in my opinion, because it's just, the screen sizes are definitely pretty big now. I would probably go for a 27-inch, and it just doesn't take up any space. And
yeah.
I can, put monitors on the sides, and it'd work pretty good.
What holds me back is, what holds me back from upgrading right now is the screen resolution. And to me, screen resolution is probably the most important thing. I want as many pixels as I could possibly look at, and that's the one thing with my dual 30s behind me. I'm pushing 2560 by 1600 times 2, and if I had to lose some of those pixels, I would be, I think frustrated would be the word.
Yeah, and you also got the iMac screen in there too. Do you use that one at all?
Yeah, as a secondary, it's an older iMac, but it certainly works well. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fast enough for what I use it for at this point. It's a great secondary monitor that I can run with a live stream so that no one sees anything that happens on that iMac screen. So if I'm watching TV or, if I'm working on, something in Windows or something else that, I don't want to turn away from, it's a great second computer to have on hand. Extra CPU cycles.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever go back to one monitor ever since I upgraded this Christmas to a second one.
Chris kind of touched on this, but also keep in mind, especially when you're buying an all-in-one computer, it's a great form factor because of the fact that if you want to move your desk around, if you want to rearrange the room, an all-in-one computer, you're pretty much dealing with power and maybe 2 cables at the most if you have the speakers built in. So it's a lot more agile in its ability to conform to what you want versus having the power of the speakers, all this clunky junk around.
Yeah, I got a cable mess, an absolute mess, especially with this UPS. I had to go around and tie everything down just to make it look decent.